In middle school, me and my best friend were obsessed with filming haunted places. We pretty much explored every haunted place in the city, but never saw anything interesting. We were wandering around the woods when we came across a house that looked abandoned for a long time. We were stoked at the idea of a new adventure, so we decided to go in. The doors had locks, but we were able to get rid of them rather easily. We walked into the house and looked around with our flashlights. Although it was dark and somewhat old, the house wasn't in bad condition. The closets were still filled up with clothes, the fridge was filled with rotten food, and there were still family photos hanging up. As we investigated the place more, we realized the house didn't look like it had been moved out of, but just straight up abandoned. I paused for a second and looked at one of the family photos. Something about it just gave me the utter creeps. Without me noticing, my friend had wandered into a room while I was staring at the family photo. I heard her scream and ran to where she was. I don't know why, but she was completely freaked out. I turned my head to the corner of the room and saw something extremely unsettling. It was a porcelain doll, sitting on a rocking chair. The doll had glossy blue eyes, blonde hair, and a fluffy dress. Normally, creepy dolls don't bother me, but this doll had a huge crack on its cheek, and nothing about it seemed like a little girl would love to play with it. As I was looking at the doll, the chair began to rock back and forth. Me and my friend glanced at each other, both knowing no sort of breeze could have gotten into this room. The chair suddenly stopped rocking, and that's what prompted us to get out of that creepy house. Later on, when we watched the recording at home, we noticed the doll's head move slightly when my friend entered the room. We tried to research the house to see if there was any sort of backstory, but we couldn't find any. Neither of us had any sort of idea on why there was a creepy doll there. A couple of nights afterwards, I was getting ready for bed when my best friend called me. I picked up the phone, and she sounded panicked. She started to explain what happened. She was home alone when the doorbell rang. She opened the door and saw something on her welcome mat that terrified her. The porcelain doll of herself. I was creeped out just hearing her explain it, and told her to come to my house as soon as possible. I heard a knock on my door as soon as I hung up. I opened the door, ready to greet her, when I had a horrifying sight instead. It was a porcelain doll of me,